subscribe, hit whatever button you need to do to support us. It's greatly appreciated. Davey, it's been an unusual week. There's lads getting injured at county training sessions that never took place. Bamboo hurleys, I never thought you'd be one for that now. And against, I suppose, all the madness, there's still no draw for the Camogie Championship. So nothing changes there. I suppose the Camogie Association is that oasis of consistency amongst all the madness, I suppose. What do you make of the week? Strange enough.
Yeah, it is strange. Like we say, club championship is only a matter of 10 days, 12 days away. But like that's something to look forward to, and everyone associated with Camogie is looking forward to getting back stuck into that hurling, Camogie, ladies football. It's actually a great time to get back into the GA in general. But yeah, the week has been made. We'll say the bamboo hurleys from Torpy.
Oh, no mention of brand names on here. Torpies, you know what to do, lads. If you want to mention, hit us up. No, go on. What you make of it? What's it like? All jokes aside.
On a serious note, the bamboo hurleys, it's like an ash hurley. It has the same feel as the ash. The consistency with the striking, the touch, it's 100%. I'd even think that the striking is a bit smoother, a bit more crisp, than an ash hurley. It looks like it's giving me that extra bit of length. Sean reckons that it doesn't break as easy as well. Again, haven't really tested that out now. But I'm hoping to do that. In a couple of weeks.
No, Dave, we don't want to go back over your disciplinary record now, but you used it in the league. Like, I suppose, were you nervous using it? Kind of, because I suppose it's your first year back, and you're kind of looking to make an impression and stuff. And
it was actually at the end of the league that I got it, so I actually didn't use it in any games. It was only in the training session, kind of since COVID really, and so then COVID hit, and I was only off the wall by myself, but the last couple of weeks I've been using it, hitting freeze with it, and it's been A1. So yeah, is it the way the hurling's going to be going? It won't be the clash of the ash anymore.
No.
And again, every player is going to be different. It's if they like it, they'll use it. If not, they can still use the ash.
And in a few years, you're not going to have any choice really, are you? Like, I suppose all the ash is dying out. Like, it's a serious issue. So fair play to them, to Torpies. Like, they're ahead of the game there, and geez, they could really cash in by being innovative, I suppose. How about yourselves in your role? Have you played any challenge matches yet? And what do you make of the new, I suppose, on-pitch regulations now and all the kind of the bits and bobs to go with the challenges?
So again, we won played. Again, it's great just to be back. But my own point of view, I actually didn't play it. I did that bit of an injury you were talking about before. As in many clubs, it's a lot of muscle injuries from going from very little to kind of heavy workload. It hurt the hamstring, but hopefully that'll be right by next couple of days. So yeah, looking forward to getting first game, challenge game under the belt before going to club championship. And the other thing was the regulations coming into the games. The GA announced them today. A few ones I'm not too sure about, I'm not too happy about even. I think the spitting and clearing of the nose, again, it's not something that players do because it's not a nice thing to do. It's just the fact you're going so hard for so long. It's just a build up of saliva just in the mouth, and I don't know. Again, you don't want, you're not spitting at someone, you're spitting onto the ground, and again, it's just a difficult one to say. It's a difficult. How will referees kind of manage that, or how would they supposed to see a lad spitting?
That's it. It's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? Like the water breaks is probably a good idea because I suppose logistically it'd be difficult to get a fella's own water bottle onto him all the time. Whether you can last,
impossible.
Yeah, geez, if you're suppose if you're playing I remember playing with there over there a few days in the height of the summer over in Shannon in these places. Geez, would you last 18 minutes without a drink of water in a game?
That's it.
The height of the summer is the other thing, but
yeah, especially when every player has their own water bottle, you need that. And again, they've kind of said to a minute of a break, which is good. just
down a
get
couple
in
of points, it'll be fucking 2 or 3 minutes.
That's the thing.
That's slow to go back on, but yeah, sure, look. Suppose we better drive on, Davey.
That's the thing. They don't want to be hearing us talking as well about that. We go straight into club championships. They're starting next weekend. I suppose with the first round in Offaly, like again, we still don't know the course if there will be an All Ireland club. What's your own opinion?
Yeah, I suppose we just don't know. Club championship starts next week in Offaly. They're the first ones back in action as far as we can see. And I suppose there'll be clubs playing the first round. I suppose if you take Offaly for an example, Rhinas would obviously be the obvious one will be hoping to go the whole way and rectify the All Ireland final defeat this year, I suppose, in March. And I suppose they'll puck their first ball without knowing whether there is an All Ireland title for them to contest, which is a bit odd, I suppose. Like obviously the GAA have said they're not going to have them. There's strong rumours that the Camogie Association are trying to plough on with it. So, look, we just don't know. But as you said, Dave, there's a lot of big games coming up. I know when we, I suppose, took our hard stance on saying county should be played first, we got quite a few DMs from guys saying we were a disgrace and what about the club and all this kind of stuff. And they obviously don't know who we are. Like, club is very important. We're both involved in clubs and coaching and playing and stuff like that. And look, it is great. There's some, as we'll see here now in a minute, there's some incredible games coming up in the club championship. So look, it is good that they're getting their centre stage as well. But I suppose we'll book in that by saying like that TG Cahir are starting a full programme of club championship matches next weekend on the television, and that could have been the Camogie championship. You know, that's the other side of it. And look, it is what it is, isn't it, I suppose?
Exactly. But I suppose the draws for most of the club championships have been made, and to be fair, there's some serious groups and some serious cracking fixtures throughout from the first game up until the quarter or the game before the quarter final in some of the group stages. But I suppose we'll start with probably the best county, right? We'll start with Clare.
Yeah, Clare's a very interesting one. I'm not sure how the draw was made, and like, we're not suggesting anything in any of these counties by any stretch, but like, you have a situation in Clare where Ina Kilnamona, Trua Clonlara and Scarf Fagonlo are all in the same group, and like that's like there's 2 coming out of 4 there, so one of the big hitters is going to be 3 and gone out of the championship in Clare, which is serious. Like, you have Ina there who were just like up until last year until Scarf beat them in the semi-final, we're just consistently winning county championships. Through Clonlara, a lot of county players, always well organised, really, really good, strong side. And Scarf are obviously the Munster senior champions. So, there's going to be some bamboo flying in Clare early doors there. I'd say, David, by the looks of it, you know.
Go on, I'm not going to leave you after you have to call it now. we're doing a prediction show. I want to make predictions.
Geez, look, very, very hard to call. Like, I really rate Ina, I suppose. We've had a lot of their players in UL, like Claire Harry, Aoife Keane, and Dre O'Keefe. I think they're really, really solid side. I'd find it hard to see how they'd go 2 years in Clare without winning the championship. And Clonlara, I've been hearing that have really got their act together and very active on the challenge match scene and stuff like that. We'll start with a bit of an outrageous one. I think Scariff mightn't get out of the group. I know that's. I know. That's what I'm thinking. That's probably a ballsy one to start with. Maybe we should have gone. But I don't know. I think maybe Ina will feel that they should have beaten them last year, and then Scariff got the momentum and drove on. Look, they're obviously a class side as well. Red Scanlon particularly leading the line with them there. But yeah, look, I think Ina will right the wrongs of last year and win the championship. Yeah, we'll go with that to start. That could be that clip could come back to haunt us now in September.
One of the most impressive teams last year in Clare are knocking out the group this year.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm very good on Adrian.
Yeah. Look, we're here to make predictions. We're not here to say they're all lovely girls. We're here to make predictions. That's what we're going with. We stand over.
Okay. So we'll move on to our neighbours and the All Ireland champions. A serious group, Group 1 in Galway. I suppose you have 3 teams that have made Croke Park in the last couple of years, and only 2 of them get out of the group.
Yeah, geez, like, again, this is a serious group. Like, the group that's a tough group in Clare, but this is a crazy group in Galway. And again, 2 coming out, as you say, Davy. Mullier in the Ireland final 2015, I think. Ardrahan the year after, or the year after that, 16 or 17. And Sarsfield, sure, we're in 3 finals and then won one this year. Like that's very, very difficult to call. Very, very difficult to call, I suppose. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to say about that. Look, like Mullya drew Sarsfields in the semi-final last year, and it made me feel they should have got over the line. My own feeling on it is, I think I really rate Sarsfields. I know, geez, right, great call, like great, you rate your Ireland champions, but you know, not a lot of people maybe I feel have given them enough credit for what they've achieved. And I think they're a serious side. I think winning the All Ireland will give them a confidence and a swagger that maybe they mightn't have had before. And I think they will come out of that group. And look, it's a time cost between Mullya and Ardrahan to come out the other side in. But I do think Sarsfields have enough in the tank to retain their title. And you know, depending on obviously what way the year goes, whether it does go on to an Ireland or not, they'd be hard to stop to win their Ireland again. Like, so they're just serious side.
And would you have any kind of underdogs in Galway, or a team that might catch someone out?
Yeah, like I suppose Thomases were in the final last year. They're in the other group. I don't know, is it fair to call them an underdog? I suppose it's a while since they won one. The most interesting thing about them is that Sarah Healy, the Galway goalie, is their top scorer. She's prolific out of the field in the club championship. So, and that's interesting. I suppose the dark horse could be Oran Marie. Like they have 2 of the Galway full forward line playing with them. So at club level, that's serious. The Niamh Hannafy and Ailish O'Reilly. Did a few sessions with them last year. Was very impressed. They have a lot of talent. Roisin Black with a few players on the Galway intermediates as well. So if there was someone to, I suppose, come out of the pack there and maybe have a cut off the top 3, you'd probably fancy them for it. But like we said, it's hard to see Sarsfields not winning that. I think it's fair to say.
Right. So the first 2 we have Aina and Sarsfields as 2 county champions.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Paddy Power, get on it.
Would we move on to Kilkenny, or is that kind of off limits to it? You're a bit.
We'll call it. Yeah, go on. I'm feeling bullish now. We'll go for it. Go on.
And just for people that might know, why would that be off limits for you?
Actually, coaching Thomastown, sure. That's it.
So they're completely underdogs, in your opinion.
Big underdogs. Very much a social thing down there. So it's nice to get people in the community together and play a bit of ball once a week, once a fortnight. Once a fortnight there for an old puck around, it's good. Like, you know, they really enjoy it. So
you're talking out through your. Go on. Yeah. Honestly, now give me a couple of predictions.
Honestly, Kilkenny, look, I suppose Dixborough have been very, very strong at underage for a number of years now, getting to Féile finals and winning Féile finals nationally. And they eventually made the breakthrough in senior last year. And I suppose these things can go one of 2 ways. I suppose you probably have seen it in the Hurling and Clare, I suppose, with maybe the likes of Clonlara and these that won an awful lot of underage and didn't win a senior county title. And it can go one of 2 ways. They can either drive on and completely fulfill their potential and dominate for the foreseeable future, or sometimes maybe once you've won one after a long time, the hunger can wane a little bit. So I suppose time will tell what will happen with Dixborough. They have a serious team. They've Orla Henrik full forward, who played intermediate level at Kilkenny for a long time, very accurate free taker. Jenny Clifford, who was on the Kilkenny senior panel for a while, won the Ireland with us in 2016. She's a couple of sisters as well. On the panel as well, they're playing minor and under 16 with Kilkenny. Aoife Prendergast centre back as well, Kilkenny vice captain. Very, very solid side. They're even all over the field. They were blessed to beat Piltown in the final last year with a very, very late goal. Now Piltown have lost Kellyanne Doyle to a cruciate injury with the Kilkenny midfielder. And Katie Power is struggling with a bit of an injury as well, a bit of a wrist injury, but will probably play. So they're probably the 2 best teams, really. Look, the borough could be well placed to dominate for the foreseeable future, depending on how things go, you
know. The winners of for 2020, and we are calling them for 2021, 2022 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to dominate for the foreseeable future.
I suppose we'll move on to Tipperary. So I think Burgess they were the big team in Tipperary for the last couple of years, but they were knocked off their perch last year. And again, this year, I suppose the draw hasn't been really too kind to them.
No, I suppose. Look, it's probably fair to say there's 3 teams really that are the strongest in Tipperary, that are a little bit ahead of the rest of the pack. Obviously, Burgess, as you said, Davy. Drummond Inch, who won the county title last year, and then Clonouty Rossmore. No, I suppose Cloulty and Drummond have been put in the same group, which means whoever tops that group will get the handier semi-final, whereas I suppose Burgess, if they're going to win the county championship and regain it this year, they're going to have to beat both Cloulty and Drummond. So it is definitely the harder side of the draw. Drummond is a very good side. Emer McGrath is probably one of the best young players in the country there. Aoife McGrath, midfield, Miriam Campion. They're a very, very strong side. They're very well managed, very well organised. So look, they'll be thereabouts again. I suppose Cloulty have a serious set of forwards. Like they have obviously caught the van. Casey Hennessy back from injury. Of course, they lost Sarah Friday to injury, who's a dominant player at club level at Tipperary. So that'll be a big blow to them. I think Burgess are still a very, very good side. It was very unusual for them to take, I suppose, the beating that they got in the county final last year. It wouldn't have been in character for them at all. And I think if they have their house in order, like I suppose the defeat from last year and the bit of hunger that brings, I think they'll probably have enough to get over the line this year, I think.
Very good, yeah. And I'll stay in Munster, but I'll just move down a small bit, and we'll talk a small bit about Waterford, because there is an unusual situation there. Again, we have the Waterford champions last year, All-Ireland intermediate champions, but refused permission to play senior this year.
Yeah,
if getting out of the group, or whoever gets out of Waterford.
Out of Waterford, yeah, an unusual situation. Now, look, I haven't confirmed this with the Camogie Association because I suppose they don't talk to anyone at all. But yeah, we had, by all accounts, Galtier, obviously, who won the Intermediate Club of Ireland last year. This year, I keep saying last year, in March, last season, requested that the county go senior, and were turned down. Apparently, the ruling is that a club from a county has to win the All-Ireland Championship twice themselves as a club before the county can be promoted. Now, obviously, Lismore and Waterford have won that intermediate championship before as well. So Waterford have won it twice in the past number of years. And I suppose that's aside from the fact that Waterford are now a top camogie county. Like they're comfortably ranked in the top 5 in Ireland. They're consistently competing at senior level in senior Division 1 at minor A level. So having their champions go into intermediate is just bizarre. And I know last year, a lot of people in Tipperary were very annoyed with it because I suppose they gave Toomevara an awful trimming in the Munster final. And Toomevara are the intermediate champions of Tipperary. And Galtier, the senior champions in Waterford. And that's nothing against Galtier. You can only play in the competition you're put into. And they were deserving All-Ireland champions and had to work very hard to win the All-Ireland. But they would compete if they win Waterford again this year and came out. They would compete in the Senior Munster Championship, and I would nearly have them as the dark horse to win the Senior Munster Championship. They're a serious young side, but they're going to be in the intermediate. And look, it's just one of those. We should have a little bell here that kind of rings when something really camogie happens. But it'll probably be ringing the whole time. But that's a real camogie thing. Like, it's just bizarre.
Yeah, but it's not fair. Not only on Galtier themselves. But it's not fair on, we said any of the other intermediate teams that come out of their county. Mm-hmm. Because, again, you're playing a senior team by right who should be in a senior All-Ireland Championship. It is an unfair system, and it is definitely something that has to be looked at. And again,
even for the players themselves, like, where's the motivation to go and win another intermediate championship when they know themselves they're good enough and talented enough to have a proper cut off to senior? It's just not right. It's not right on so many different levels. It's just
and again, as we said, we still don't know if there's going to be an All-Ireland Championship. So on the positive side, if there is something, it mightn't be too late to change that. Would that be fair enough to say?
Davey, I love the naivety there. Nothing changes that quickly in camogie, Davey. That's cute. No, that's lovely. You're talking about an association who just point blank cancelled a minor championship there a couple of weeks ago and refused to budge. So look, let that one slide. Yeah, you're allowed to have one or two of those naive moments until you get to know camogie a little bit better. Let that one slide. That's okay.
And as we focus on the championship itself, Galtier themselves, that's the team to beat.
You would imagine so, Dave, I suppose. And the county championships are just littered with tough groups. Like, you've Galtier, De La Salle and Lismore all in the same group. And I know Cappoquin were in the final last year, but I think most people would say that they're probably the 3 best teams in Waterford, all in the same group, with 2 to come out as well. Look, Galtier is serious side. We just said it there. Like, I no doubt. I know that they were beating some of the senior champions in kind of the warm up games for the provincial series last year and before the Munster final and stuff like that. And before the All-Ireland final, they beat some of the senior contestants. So they're operating at a really, really high level. They're great forwards. They're very, very well coached, really well organised, and yeah, class side. Like the other side of it is, I suppose, De La Salle went very close 2 years ago. Cappoquin beat them in the semi-final last year. The advantage De La Salle have this year is that Beth Carton will be coming in fresh. Because I suppose usually by the time she hits the club season, she's carried UL, carried Waterford, and throwing a third team up in the back and plowing through the winter can be quite hard. So I suppose after a few months off now, at club level, she's just different gravy. They have a young player called Abby Flynn as well. It's a dual star, she's an international basketball player as well. But look, that's it. I think it's Galtiers to win again. Their class side.
Very good. I suppose that's your own county, Limerick. I was actually doing a bit of research earlier, and I was struggling to find the actual draw for the Limerick Championship.
Yeah.
Do you have any explanation there?
I suppose you'd struggle to find anything in Limerick Camogie, I suppose. But I did track down the draw. It took a little bit of finding. It's not on the internet because, look, why would you want anyone to know it? Because for fear someone would actually get a bit of publicity around it. But the draw, as far as we know, and this is only just from one of the players, so I hope it's right. Grana, the Piercing, and Grana, the Piercing in one group, Ahan, Newcastle West, and Cricora in the other group. Cleedy in the first group as well. So look, I suppose maybe if there's someone there that has the login and the password for the Limerick Camogie Twitter, they might fire the old draw up so people would know what it is. Let's see what the story is.
I presume 2 come out of each group, is it? And 2 semi-finals?
Maybe, I presume so, yeah. Your guess is good as my lad.
Top team.
So. Yeah, top team
might only come out straight into
there's no final, just the top team in each group. Coin toss, winner takes all. Look, seriously, I suppose. It'll be a good championship, I suppose. It'll probably come down to the usual pretenders. Newcastle West were a bit like Dixborough last year in Kilkenny, in that very, very young side, had won an awful lot at underage, had been prolific at winning underage titles. And had just maybe struggled a little bit to get over the line in senior, and then produced a great performance then against the Hand, the county final, to finally do it. Of course, a huge loss for them is Rebecca DeLee. Like, she's one of the top players in the country and is really a catalyst for everything they do. So there's no doubt about it, they'll be a different side without her. Han obviously would have felt hard done by last year. I suppose they're lucky in that Niamh Mulcahy was supposed to be on the way travelling for the year and is locked down like the rest of us now. So again, look, top forward in the country, one of the top forwards. Massive addition to them. Maybe the dark horses here could be Grana Ballingarry. They would have been the kingpins of old, I suppose, or learning club champions, I suppose, going back a decade now at this stage. But by all accounts, have a serious management in place and are training very hard. I think without the lead, Newcastle West might struggle. It could come down to one of the old school finals between Ahan and Grana, and that'd be great to see. I think Ahan might retain their title or regain their title this year, for a better word. But it'll be interesting to see. It'll be a close championship.
Just on the positive side for Rebecca, like, would she might be back for Limerick come championship? That'd be nearly 9 months, would it?
Trying to think. No, did it at the end of January, I suppose. So yeah, possibly.
It wouldn't be far off it.
Wouldn't be far off it. Yeah, it should be a big addition. Like, although I suppose it'd still be cutting it tight. It'd be still cutting it tight, I suppose. It'll be interesting to see for Limerick is if Niamh Mullen will play, because again, obviously she had taken the summer off.
That's what I was going to say.
And look, you could see instances like that around the country where kind of girls are saying, listen, I didn't really want to give the commitment this year. I was going to go away, or I was going to do X, Y, and Z, but maybe I might give the commitment for 7 or 8 weeks and play the championship. So it'd be interesting to see around the counties, see if there's extra players on the panels that maybe mightn't have featured in the league and stuff like that. So
exactly. And just on before we move off from the Limerick Club Championship, the fact that we don't know if that's the actual draw. We don't have dates for our first round, I presume.
No, there's no dates or anything. Look at all jokes aside, just look, they should probably just maybe let the public know when it's on and stuff, just so they can go to the games and that kind of thing.
Right, so we'll move
on. Move swiftly on.
Again, we'll stick to another powerhouse in Cork, and I suppose there's all change here from last year with Sarsfields winning their first county title in 30 years, or
a bit of a pattern developing here in these counties, isn't it? Sarsfields were a team who again would have been very prolific at underage. Won all before them at A level in Cork, and then just made the breakthrough last year. Inniscarra before that would have won a couple of titles and would have been kind of the dominant team. I suppose the interesting thing about Cork is that it mirrors the Hurling Championship in a way, in that there's a lot of even teams. It's very competitive, but once their county champions are crowned, they maybe struggle in the provinces after. They don't really have, not since Milford were so dominant, have they had a team that was able to compete outside the province, which is unusual. But look, Sarsfields again will be one of those teams where are they going to drive on now and dominate for a number of years, or are they happy that they've satiated the hunger with one success? But they're likely to be the team to beat. Inniscarra, of course, haven't gone away. They'll be thereabouts again. Killa were close last year as well. They lost the semi-final after a replay. But you'd imagine if Sarsfields continue to develop, they're a very young side, they'll take beating Cork again.
Yeah, one. And we move on to one of your favourite counties, which is Offaly. St. Ryan is, I suppose, was through Leinster last year. So, again, they have to be the favourites for this year's club championship. Yeah.
They're a dominant force in Offaly. It's probably it really. There isn't much more to say about it. Like, I suppose they're going to get better as well. Like, okay, the likes of Siobhan Flannery, Linda Sullivan, and a few more of these are maybe heading towards the twilight years of their career. They've been around a long, long time. But maybe the standout performances last year, you keep saying last year, in March in Croke Park, were from Siobhan McGrath and Kate Kinney. Kate Kinney from Rhinas, like, she was, I think, 18 years of age. We've spoken about it before. Like, she's at one stage there a couple of years ago when she was only 16. She was the Offaly, Camogie and Ladies Footballer of the Year in the same year at senior level. So she's a talent, like, and she just lit up Croke Park in March. There isn't another forward in Offaly like her. There's very few forwards in the country like her. And look, they won't be next or near touched in Offaly. They'll walk that.
Right, that's an easy prediction for you, so
easy one, yeah. That's the one I get right, I'd say.
I suppose a friend of ours and a friend of the show, JJ Doyle, he's managing Wexford, of course, but his St. Martin's have been champions the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. Again, I can only presume it's theirs to lose.
Yeah, look, I think it's very. They are. You're right. Maybe say it's theirs to lose might be a little bit too forceful, but they are definitely the number one team in Wexford. And look, let's call a spade a spade. Maybe the number one team, one of the number one teams in Ireland. They'll probably be disappointed with themselves that they didn't put the Leinster title on the board last year. They'll probably feel that they have a point to prove. They have some top class players that we'll have seen there over the Ashburn weekend, like Sarah O'Connor and her sister play with DCU, Chloe Fox with UCD. Like, these are all top class players playing at Martins. Oulart are very active on the challenge match scene. They're playing a lot of games. You can tell they're very, very organised, well managed, and of course just still have so many talented players. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. You get the feeling that maybe Oulart might have one more old blast in them, like, that they could get over the line. But look, if there was money in your pocket that you had to put down, you wouldn't be backing against Martins. So you wouldn't be surprised if Oulart did it, but you definitely wouldn't back against Martins. No way. Especially with JJ as the manager as well. You know, they'd be well drilled, well organised. Yeah.
Exactly. That's one thing you can be sure and certain of, that
they
will have a specific game plan that they will be going towards. But the fact that, like we said, likes of Ireland, in most counties it's so competitive that there's going to be great games in every county.
Definitely in every county. Like, you're looking at there, like, I suppose if you go back through, say, if you take Wexford, whichever one of those, Martins or Oulart, come out, will be one of the favourites to win their provincial championship. Whoever comes out of Clare will be one of the favourites to win the provincial championship. Whoever comes out of Galway will be one of the favourites to win the Ireland. Like, the biggest battle for all these teams is to get out of their home counties. you know, like it nearly opens up for most of them once they do. You know, it's like the biggest battle is going to be the neighbours. Like, you know yourself, like, you know, take Sarsfields there now, sure, like everyone in Galway will be just looking to dethrone them. You know, they're Ireland champions. And same with Scariff now, all the Clare teams will be looking to have a cut off them. And when you're up there, you're there to be shot at, like, you know yourself.
I'll just pull the handbrake there for a second. So Martins is coming out of Wexford.
Oh yeah, look, yeah, we'll go with Martins, yeah.
And they're winning the Leinster Championship, but I think Vincent's in
Thomastown will win Leinster. I didn't back us to win Kilkenny, but I'll back us to win Leinster. If we get out, we won't be stopped.
No, but Vincent's, like, they've been very strong provincial level for the last couple of years. They're Leinster champions last year. Again, they're going to be favourites for coming out of Dublin. And again, looking at Leinster and pushing on throughout. Definitely.
Vincent's a very strong side. Big club, of course, big famous club. There's a bit of a football influence in there as well. It's Niamh Heatherton, the Dublin footballer, plays centre forward for them. And I think her mum is the coach, and then she has a bit of a football background as well. And they do play kind of a bit defensive and break, like a lot of the Dublin Camogie teams do. They're a very, very good side. They pushed Sarsfields hard in their Ireland semi-final last year. They didn't have it all their own way in Dublin last year. They lost in the group to Jude's, although they emphatically reversed that in the county final and gave them a bit of a trimming, so you wouldn't know, maybe they were pulling it fast in the group stage. Yeah, as you said there, hit the handbrake maybe a small bit, but they're the two standout teams. Ballyboden are a very good side as well. The winner in Dublin definitely won't come outside of those three, and it'd be very surprising if it wasn't Vincent's. And as you said there, once they get out of Dublin, then they'll fancy their chances of retaining their Leinster title as well. Leinster will be very competitive if it does go ahead. Like you'll have three big hitters. Whoever comes out of Kilkenny, Wexford and Dublin will all be very even and will all fancy their chances going all the way.
Big time. Again, another very competitive championship. We'll look up to Ulster. And again, the two real standout teams there, I suppose, are Schlockneil and Lochneil. Again, champions of Derry and Antrim, respectively. Some great battles in Ulster over the last couple of years. And again, schedule permitting, I presume we can expect the same from two Savage club teams.
Yeah. Like, I suppose a lot of people, until Sarsfields had won this year, would have said that Sarsfields were very unlucky to be around at the same time as Lochneil. That they might have had 3 or 4 in the bag at this stage. But Jesus, Lochneil must be the next unluckiest team in the country to be around the same time as Lochneil, because they really ran them close so many times in the championship, and just came up short every single time. Sometimes, okay, beaten by maybe a decent margin, but more often than not, very, very close, tight games. And there's an awful lot of work being done in Antrim Camogie. I know they're one of the most vocal about the National Leagues not being finished, because they were flying in Division 2. They had hammered Tipperary, and it seems like they've really got their act together. They've been competing at A level at underage for the first time in a long time. And I suppose it's no surprise that with Lochneil have been so competitive, and getting their act together underage, that they are starting to do that. But yeah, look, you would be thinking that if it does go to provincial levels, Lochneil and Lochneil are going to lock horns again in the Ulster final. But I'm afraid it'll be very, very difficult to see Lochneil being beaten. I think they're still, despite the defeat in March, they're still one of the top teams in the country, and it'll take some beating.
Exactly, and if the All-Ireland does go ahead, like, again, they'll be fancying their chances as well to go all the way.
Definitely. Well, the serious club side, we have them on the podcast soon to chat about them. It's a great story. They're a great club as well as a great team. But yeah, like if you look at it there, I mean, like, you could end up with an All-Ireland series where I suppose you'll have, or even provincial series where you'll have, say, Martins, Vincent's, in Leinster, whoever comes out of Kilkenny there as well. Yeah, and all jokes aside, I would fancy our chances. Like, Joe, I wouldn't be driving down from Limerick there 2 or 3 times a week. It's a fair spin down. If we didn't fancy our chances, there'd be no point otherwise. But and then in Munster, then, like, you could end up with, well, it's a shame not Galtier. But imagine the championship you'd have if it was Galtier and Scariff or Ina, Han and these, and Inniscarra or Sarsfields. Like, we're just like, you'd have an unbelievable championship. But yeah, look, we're going to try and get out and about a few of the games, I suppose, schedules permitting. We're both involved in club teams and stuff like that, so it mightn't always be easy. But We'll try and get to a few of the games and see what's going on. There's certainly some tasty fixtures there, so it'd be great to get out, especially Galway and Clare in particular, just jumping off the schedule there. So it'd be good to see us going on a road trip.
So just a quick recap.
Okay.
Just put your neck on the line again. Basically you've gone for Ina, Sarsfield, Thomastown, Burgess, De La Salle, Ahan.
Ooh, did I go for De La Salle? Yeah, do you know what? Go on. Okay, that's an outrageous call. Like, no, go on. I'll stick with it. I'll back Bet. I really rate called here. I think they're a class side, but go on. Like, Bet has saved my skin on so many occasions with UL that I'm not going to back against her. We'll go with De La Salle. So okay.
Ryan's, Martins, Vincent's, and then Ulster will take care of itself.
That's it, baby.
So and
if all them are wrong, this podcast will never again see the light of day.
But again, I'll make sure to have this on record. I'll take a lovely clip out of this, and I'll be replaying it in September.
Is it possible to nail a podcast to a wall of a dressing room? Is it? I'm sure it is. Nick Clifford now is probably recording this as we're watching the 11. But look, all jokes aside, I think it's important what we're doing here, because far too often, like what happens in Camogie is just, look, you get the fixtures and you get this, and this team A are playing team B, and isn't it great? Like, nobody is putting their neck on the line and actually making predictions or doing previews or calling it as it is. And look, that's why this whole thing was set up, to do that. So look, I could be wrong on the 10 of them, but look, I think the more people that do go out and make the predictions and do it, it's better for the game, and it just adds more to the profile and stuff like that. So I'll be right on most of them today.
Exactly. No, it's a pleasure to do them predictions again with you, and again I'll be hoping that you're wrong, just to kind of give you another dig or two.
I'll tell you what we'll do, Davey. If I get the 10 of them right, we'll arrange for you to take on Bet Carton in a left-handed free-taking competition. That's the bet. If I get the 10 right, we'll video it.
I've lost already.
That's a fact.
No, but again, we'll wrap this up, and looking forward to the next podcast. And again, it's always looking forward to see what we can do next. And the next podcast, we have someone very interesting on. We probably the goat of Camogie, Hurling, GA in general, Angela Downey. Yeah,
unbelievable. Like when we asked Katie Power to do it, she said, I can get Angela on. And we were trying to organise the time. She said, I just have to check with the Queen. And she said, right, like it's almost, she's almost unrivaled when it comes to, are you talking about who the greatest player, team of the century, 12 All-Irelands at Kilkenny, I think another 12 at her club, and just reading an article about her lately, like herself and Anne were doing like full S&C programs in the early 90s and just absolutely dominating teams. Like, so like they were real, I suppose, pioneers for the modern game. And my experience of Angela and both Anne from crossing them on the sideline once or twice is that she won't hold back with her thoughts. So it's going to be a belter. So really looking forward to recording that. And geez, like that's not forgetting Katie either. Like probably one of the top centre forwards in the game, all-star, All-Ireland winner of class as well. But she might I think she won't have any problem with kind of being in the side seat beside Angela while she takes centre stage either. So, and with that'll be really good. So looking forward to it.
Excellent, and we'll wrap it up there then. And again, like Adrian said at the start, if you don't forget to like, share, click the subscribe button, and we'll be good to go for next week.